to us and touch our hearts. In your name we pray.
Okay, so this is a worship service this evening, so let's all stand up and sing praises to the Lord this evening. All right, here we go, guys.
Yeah. This on? Check. All right. What a great turnout. What a great songs of worship. So, I remember like it was yesterday. It was a hot mid-July. The humidity was like 100%. The temperature was well over 100, at least it seemed like it. My mom and dad were washing their vehicle. And my cousins were over. And with the leaves, there must have been like 50 of them. I'm sure there wasn't that many. So in our amusement, we decided, you know what? Back then, I was only about 8 or 9 years old, but we had horses. So in our amusement to pass the time of day, we took turns riding my pony, which is my horse, her name was called Babe. Now Babe was the most beautiful pony in the world. However, Babe was not blessed with stature. She was about as wide as she was tall. And you had to be very, very flexible in the hips to be able to ride her. I mean, you had to almost be like a cheerleader just to get on her. She was that wide. But nevertheless, she was my horse, and I was so proud of her. So in the meantime, all these people, my cousins, whom I was supposed to love, were taking turns riding my horse on this hot day. And each time I'd have to lead him, each time I'd take him back, and someone else would get on. And even I think one of my brothers or sisters jumped on there. Boy, that really irritated me. But after a certain amount of time, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went running after Babe. I went chasing after her. And I grabbed her with my right hand. And I grabbed her tail. Now I don't know if you guys know about horses, but underneath that tail is not a lot of unpleasantness. So when I grabbed that tail, I think Babe felt in her a chance to relieve herself. And she did. And it wasn't urine. It was a green, slimy, all over. And that's why my arm is a little hairier than my other one. But fortunately, I went running with Mom and Dad, and they were washing their vehicles, so I had that washed off. And why do I tell you that story at a baccalaureate? Because you young people, you're going to chase things in your life. And you're going to think things that you may want, things that are going to be selfish, that you are going to want to desire. And when you grab a hold of it, you may not like the consequences that come out of the end. But that's life. And so often we want to try to protect you, but you have to figure things out on your own. But God gave us a guidebook. And if we could desire anything on you, it's to chase Him. It's to desire a long-lasting relationship with Him. It was 30 years ago, I was sitting there where you guys were sitting. And I don't know if you guys have played this game, but even people in the back there, how many of you guys used to go grocery shopping with your parents? And back in those days, you could actually leave me in the vehicle. And we used to take turns, okay, you pick out, what car do you want? And oh, I want that one, oh, I want that one, I want that one. You guys ever did that? Are we the only stupid kids there? Anything like that? All right. Anyway, I've never, ever said, I want a white 12-passenger van. Ooh, that's my dream car. That's what I want to drive, Lord. But God had a different plan for us. And the point of that is, so often, we get closed-minded on what we want, our selfish desires and what we want. We don't allow enough room or opportunity to allow Him to bless us with what He wants. And there's nothing out in this world I'd change for that baby. It's been from ocean to ocean, coast to coast. So many memories, some good ones, some bad ones, that's been together with that family. You couldn't do that in a Corvette, at least not with our family. There's been some great memories. In 1 Timothy, it tells us what we should pursue. So that you, man of God, 2016 graduates, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Some of you will accomplish amazing things, and many of you have been told that the sky's the limit. Dream big, both of which are true, but greatness is often found in the simple things of life. You want to do great things? Then pursue a great relationship with Jesus. Learn to love one another as Jesus loved us. Learn to be a great husband, a wife. Learn to be a great father and a mother. Learn what it means to give back to the community. Learn to die to self and live for Christ. If you want to do great things and change the world, whether it's your relationship with Christ, your spouse, your future spouse, your children, future children, family, your business or practice, place of employment, if you want to do something great, remember these 2 words. Just simple 2 words. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit on Jesus, because he will never, ever quit on you. He loves you so much, he died for you. Don't quit on your desires to become the best person you can become. Don't quit on your spouse. Don't quit on your children. Don't quit on the plan God has for you. Because let me tell you something. In Hebrews 10:36, you need to persevere, not quit, so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. And life is going to get tough. It will rock you to your core sometimes. And looking back 3 or 4 years ago, you remember what it was like playing dodgeball for the first time against those seniors. That's just a little glimpse of what life may have in store for you. And we laugh about that, but parents and adults, we understand. It is tough out there. So in closing, if you just remember this poem. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you can never tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things go wrong that you mustn't quit.
I'm going to put this down for you now, Braxton. Okay. There you go, Bob. All right, it's such an honor and a blessing for you guys to ask me to speak here tonight. In my 6 years here, this is only my second one that I've been voted to, chosen by the classes. So this is such a great honor to be here. As I talk to you guys today, this is such a blessing because 6 years ago, when we got here, we've got to see you guys grow and mature. Some of you, I'm not the growing part, Bob, but you guys keep getting older and better. But as we keep going through life, we've got to see you guys in numerous ways. We've got to be friends, fans, coaches. Nick will never let me forget the Go Wolf Gals on my first day coaching boys basketball. The switch was a tough one, but we made it. So I've been a chaplain for the football team for a couple years now. I've been a friend, counselor, youth pastor for many of these guys here. And it's such a blessing to see God continue to move through them, and that they know that you guys are continuing to pray for them and through this journey. And so for me, here tonight, it'd be so easy for me to walk in and to give you a message that says, you're going to walk out of here and just going to fly through life. I feel like I missed an opportunity to speak to you one last time, to speak truth to you one last time. Because you're going to face trials, like Coach Leap said. You're going to face things that God's going to have to lead you through. And this has been something I've been wrestling through for several months now, as Coach Pierce called me and said, you've been chosen back in March. And so I've been praying over this and leading through this and working through this of what I would say to you guys finally. And today I want to just help you overcome those trials you're going to face, because I want to encourage you guys to leave here, after you leave FHS, to go out and to be the best business leaders that you can be. Go out and get your education. Be the best singer you can be. For those of you going to service, thank you. The best leader you can be. Best protector you can be. Thank you. Go out and lead your families in your homes, but it's going to start with going through the day-to-day process that starts once you leave here. That journey of faith that you must now uphold on your own. So we're going to open the word of prayer. We're going to open it up and we're going to look at James chapter 1 here, and then we're going to switch over to Acts chapter 27. But if those of you who don't know me, I'm a little weird, so I'll say that now. I truly believe that we're standing on holy ground. Anytime we come together and we get to preach his name, we're on holy ground, just like Moses. And so I take my shoes off because I truly believe that we're in God's presence. So I'm going to do that as we pray, and then we'll get started here. So don't be inspired by socks. They're pretty cool. They do match. All right, let's open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, God, I thank you so much, Lord. I thank you for being a God that is far greater than us, and then you know far in advance, God, of what we need and what we need to hear, God. And so, God, I pray that your presence would be amongst us tonight, that you would continue to open our hearts and ears, God, for your word to be heard, God. It would not be my words, God, but it would be yours. God, you say, Jonathan, you must become greater, we must become less, God. In this moment, let me become less, God. Let you become more. Lead us, help these students grow and continue to take what they've learned over their time in this school, in this system, God, that you would help lead them and guide them to the future. That as they face trials and obstacles, God, that you would be there as their foundation, the one that's leading the way and that's directing their future. God, it's through you and through all things we give you the glory. In your name I pray. Amen. I don't know about you, if you have siblings, and if you've ever heard of this thing called sibling rivalry. None of you, right? Yeah. So for me, we had this thing in our home, and I have a little sister, and through this process of life, going up through junior high, I was pretty intelligent. And then I got to high school, and I got a disease, and it was called laziness. And so through this process, I hated grade day, I hated that process, and anytime they send report cards home, my sister would come in, I got an A, I got an A, I got an A. What do you have, Lauren? Oops. Right? So we went through this process of life, and we'd always be going through this process. And then finally, we see that over time, things change. But here we see that in James, this is a little bit of a story of sibling rivalry. Because imagine James's life. James is the younger brother of Jesus. And so anytime James would come home, James, how'd you do today? Got an A. Jesus, how was your day? I saved everybody. Right? So when you think about the context of James' life and James' stories here that he's teaching to the people around him, he's kind of second fiddle to his brother. But he still has some guidance for us today. And so we're going to look at this in the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 through 5. It says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and will be given to him." So we've all had seasons of life where we have our ups and downs, our obstacles, our trials, our challenges. Each and every one of us are faced with opportunity to stand tall or to run and hide. James reminds us that these opportunities are opportunities that we get with God to be able to overcome our fears and to claim our faith in him, to hold on tight, to lead through with these things. And so through this process here, we now see that James is inviting us with Christ to walk hand in hand through our trials and our journeys that we're going to face. He continues on in verse 12 and says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who he loves." See, we all go through these seasons of life and these challenges, but through this process, we're drawn closer to God, and he leads us to these moments here. And so James is encouraging these people and says, I know what you're facing. I know the challenges that are ahead of you. The obstacle looks tough, but here in this moment, stand strong. Don't quit. Jesus tells his disciples, he says, "Take heart, because I have overcome the world," which leads me to call this little passage, "I was born for this." Think about that. Jesus has overcome the world for you and I, so that we might be prepared for what's ahead of us. We were born for this. We were born for this opportunity to face the future, to face the obstacles that are going to arise. But we have to accept that for our lives. Someone can't just thrust that upon you, because as you leave here, you must now choose your life and choose your direction and choose the things that you're going to face. And so that approach that you take is remind yourself that we were born for this. You and I both had this opportunity that we were born for this. And so as we go through this, keep that repeating in your head that we were born for this. I love this quote. It says, "Don't shy away from the opportunities God gives you today. He's doing a great work in and through you." Open up yourself daily to what God has in store for you. Those opportunities that you have in life to stand strong, to stand tall and use your platform to reach others. See, sometimes we think that our life is born like this, and we say it's no, because God is leading us through another direction for us. As Christians, we have to walk the walk as much as we do the talk. See, sometimes this is like the greatest halftime speech of their lives, right? Anybody ever watch Rudy? You stay on the steps there, and again, his face, it says, it's not about proving it to others, it's about proving it to yourself. When you leave here, your faith now becomes your own. It's not about proving to others, but it's about proving to yourself what you believe and the ability that you have to stand for this. That quote goes on, it says, "This is the time you don't want it to pass. Only you will regret not taking advantage of it. This is now your time, your opportunity to take the lead. But there's going to be moments in your life when things happen, things come out unplanned, and you're going to have to make a decision of how you're going to face those. Growing up, I had a good friend. His name was Paul. He was what you like to call fearless. And I was, on the other hand, I wasn't a coward, but I knew my limits. I knew my strengths. Let's put it that way. I was cautious. But Paul and I were good for each other because Paul, I would have to rein him back in, and he would kind of stretch me a little bit to make me go above my limits. So growing up, we would always go skiing. And we'd always go to the slopes. And so over the years, we kind of got a little more dangerous, I guess you could say. So we got in the lift, and we're just like, we're going up to the top. And there's a line. You can kind of go down a little smoother side, or you can go down the rough side. So we got up there, we got lost in the crowd, and finally we noticed that we were going down the wrong side. And so after, going down the mountain, and by going down the mountain, I mean rolling down the mountain, picking myself up, gathering my skis, and thinking, what did I just go through? I say to myself, where's Paul? I look around, and all I see is this empty space about 100 feet from me, and someone laying there, and the EMT crew rushing out there. My heart sank. I was like, oh no, we went through too much. So I start getting myself together, trying to get over there. And as I start getting closer and closer, about 50 feet away, I hear this loud scream coming down the mountain. And it was Paul. And he took out the EMT crew. But they couldn't stop. And now you have this snowball effect going down the rest of the mountain where we're at. And that sometimes is our life, because sometimes you might take off on this great adventure, and at some point you're going to realize this was not the slope I was intended to be on. I'm not prepared for this. But Jesus tells us differently. He says we were born for this. We were born for this opportunity to continue to lead and live and follow after Him. And so this is our opportunity. This is your chance. You can sit back and say, I'm just going to fall away. Because statistics say that 70% of students will leave high school and fall away from the church and from Christ. 70% will fall away. That's the problem. They believed the lie that they weren't ready, that they weren't qualified, that they weren't good enough. But Jesus continues over and over and says that you were born for this. This is your moment to shine, and this is your opportunity for this. See, and sometimes if there's an absence of adversity in your life, there might not be any progress. Those moments are things that strengthen us and lead us through different stages of life, and we continue to see ourselves growing and improving from them. We cannot run from the challenges of life and to figure out how to handle the fire on your own. During this time, a lot of people were being persecuted. They were put in the lion's dens, into the fires, persecuted, bound prepared. But in this moment, we see that even when you find yourself in that fire, when you feel the heat around you, you've been prepared for this. As it's rising around you, remind yourself that there is more to come, that there is hope for the future. When we see this, we see Paul in his story of life in Acts chapter 27. And when we think about the story of Paul, if you think about Paul, Paul's been through just about everything. Persecution, stonings, imprisonment, on and on and on. Paul's been through it all. But in this moment, we see that Paul is in a season of his life where he's been captured, he's been put on a ship, and then he's been shipped to Rome. But on this way to Rome, the ship begins to be struck by a storm. We see that Paul finds himself in a storm of life that he wasn't prepared for. We see in Acts chapter 27, verse 21 and 26, it starts out, it says, since they had without food for a long time, Paul stood up among them and said, men, you shouldn't have listened to me and not have set sail from Crete and incurred the injury and loss. Yet I urge you to take heart, for there will be no loss of life among you, but only of the ship. For this very night there stood before me an angel of the God, to whom I belong to and who I worship. Let's freeze right there for just a moment, because in this moment here we see that God revealed himself to Paul. He revealed himself through an angel as he starts telling him through the story. This angel could have said anything to Paul. He said, hey, this is your opportunity here. Hey, why don't you do a little bit more? Why don't you be a better Christian? Why don't you do a little more outreach? But what the angel says to him, says, don't give up. Why don't you go and tell everybody around and say, don't give up. Paul, I need you to speak loudly and clearly to those around you that they need to know that they should not give up. He goes on and he said, do not be afraid. Paul, you must stand before Caesar, and behold, God has granted you those who sail with you. So take heart, and I have faith in God that he will be exactly as I have been told. But we must run around on some island. Verse 30, if you skip down there, it says, as the sailors were seeking to escape from the ship, they had lowered the ship's boat to the sea under the pretenses of laying out anchors from the boat. Paul said to the centurion and the soldiers, unless these men stay in the ship, you cannot be saved. Then the soldiers cut away the ropes from the ship's boat and let it go. Let's freeze right there for one moment, because this is something significant about your lives, guys. This is a moment of your life that's going to be a defining moment as you go through a trial. Because here's the thing. When you go through a hardship, when you start going through life and you find yourself on the wrong slope, in the midst of the heat, whatever you're at, remind yourself of this. It's important to take account of who's trying to get off your boat and who's trying to hold on and stay with you. Because through this journey, Paul understood there are some of those people who are fighting with him, who are willing to stand strong for what they believed in, and yet others who are trying to flee from it. And sometimes in your life, you're going to have hardships, and some people are going to flee from it, and flee from your life, and try not to be around you, but you have others who are going to be holding on desperately for the grace that is upon you. As we see this, Paul continues on. He says, and that day was about to dawn, and Paul urged them to take some food, saying, today is the 14th day, and you have continued in suspense and without food. Having taken nothing, therefore I urge you to take some food, for it will give you strength, for not a hair to perish from your head and any of you. Interesting here. I don't know if this is something spiritual or something worldly, but just like many of us, when we go through a hardship, we go through a season of life, what do? Into Oreo ice cream, right? He says, take some food. I understand it's stressful. I understand life is a storm that you haven't prepared for. You need to eat. But in other words, what he's saying is it's not just about our physical need, but it's about our spiritual need. See, sometimes we go through life and we stop feeding our spiritual side as much as we deny our physical side. We lose sight of where we're going. And so that's what he's reminding us is don't forget to feed yourself spiritually. Seek the Lord through all things that you do here. And in verse 42, it continues on as we wrap up our verses here. And it says, the soldiers' plan was to kill the prisoners, lest any should swim away and escape. But the centurion, wishing to save Paul, kept him from carrying out the plan. He ordered those who could swim to jump overboard first and make it for the land, and the rest on planks on pieces of the ship. And so as that were brought safely to land. It's amazing that the centurion would speak into Paul's life, because the centurions and Paul were not getting along. They're the ones trying to persecute him. But in this moment, that God put someone in his life that would be unexpected to breathe truth into him, to show them that they cared about him. And so in this opportunity, we see that sometimes it's the least likely places you're going to gather inspiration from others. But as we look at this, as you look at facing trials in your life, I got 3 things for you. Number 1, learn to start seeing things coming. Now, there's a lot of times that there's things that you can't prepare for. I understand that. But there's other moments of your life when sometimes just understanding God's will and God's grace that you will see his plan. A lot of times those trials that happen in our lives are because we lost our own focus. We lost the things that were in front of us. And sometimes it's starting our lives over. In other words, each day, you spend that first 15 with God. Spend that first 15 with God. Others, stop. Just worship with God. Stop for 5 minutes and read with God. And stop 5 minutes and just listen to God. Because through that moment, students, you will have an opportunity to redirect yourself, to feed your need for what's moving forward, so that you have a vision of who God is and where he's leading you. Because if you don't start your day with God, how do you know where he's leading you? How do you know where your support's going to come from each day? He's giving you this guidance and this will for your lives right in front of you. That he is there to show you the way. Number 2, he says you've got to see it through. I don't know about you. Unlike Paul, I don't know how often I could stand strong going through what he went through. I'd probably quickly fade away, to stop, to quit. I would forget the passage that Jesus said that we were born for this. And Paul took this to his heart, remembering that he was born for this. And this was his righteousness, that it was his direction here that he could lead on. And so through this opportunity, even though through this broken ship, as it's falling to pieces, and they're swimming to shore, Paul remains faithful. It would have been easy to jump overboard earlier. But God gave him a plan. He spent that time listening to God and understood that through this there would be new direction, a new life for him. But he had to be faithful to that process. He had to wait. And so Paul, we see here that as he goes through this process here, he holds on. He doesn't just understand what the future holds, but he holds on. Because here's the thing. We might not know what it is out there, but we know who holds the future in his hands. We know who's guiding and leading us, who has a plan for our process. We see that through him is our salvation. And number 3, you've got to shake it off so that you can keep on going. Because if we can't shake off the things of life, how are we going to yell, bring it on again? Paul, as he gets to the island here, as many of you might know, as he gets to the island, as he gets there, his servant heart takes over, and he starts building these fires to provide heat and a way for the cook, for the tribes, the people who are there on this island from the shipwreck. But in this moment, as he starts building this fire, he comes under attack. For many of you as believers, we see that Christ calls us to be a light in this world. We should be starting our own fires. Now, that's not an idea for a senior prank, okay, guys? So, no. Okay? But through this process, we see that God is leading us to start a light, to be a light to others, to be a light in this world. For as Paul noticed here, as he was starting this process here, as he was building this fire for his peers around him, guess what happened? A viper came out of that fire and bit his hand. It says it didn't just bite him, it latched on. It was clenched to him. And in that moment, he just shook it off. He kept walking. But here's the thing that we remember. The bigger the fire gets, the more the vipers are revealed. Throughout your life, the brighter your light shines, the more trials the devil's going to try tempting you with and pulling you away. And it's important that we remain faithful to these things because we have to remember that you were born for this. And this is your opportunity. And this is your time to leave this place and to go out and make the world a better place. To keep going strong. To don't give up. Because no matter what you face, you were born for this. This is your time. You're the class of 2016. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for all that you are, God. God, thank you for your word. I thank you for your truthfulness of the stories of Paul and his journey, God. For the things that he does, Lord, and the way that he goes about it and just remains faithful to you, God. And as we face the trials of this life, God, that we would not be discouraged. When we're in the fire, in the pits of life, that we would understand that you are there and we should not quit. That we should see it through. And as we begin to let our light shine in this world, that we understand that there's going to be vipers that are going to attack us. But God, you were there leading the way for us. God, I pray for protection for this group of students here. No matter where they go outside of FHS, that there would be someone that would enter their lives that would continue to pour into them, continue to lead them, continue to help them develop their walks with you in faithfulness, God. So they just wouldn't merely be religious, but they'd be faithful followers of your word. God, in your name we pray. Amen.
Hi. Hold it all together, everybody needs you strong. A life hits you out of nowhere and barely leaves you holding on. And when you're tired of fighting, chained by your control, there's freedom in surrender, lay it down and let it go. So when you're on your knees and answers seem so far away, you're not alone, stop holding on and just be held. Thessalonians 5:24. He who calls you is faithful, and he will surely do it.
Philippians 1:6, and I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ.